bim, guess what? It is Saturday, it is 8 o'clock, and that can only mean one thing. It's what a week that was, 21st of October 2023, and it's been a week of news, which is unusual. Although, to be fair, every week is a week of news. I've been messing around with my camera angles and everything as well, because it was a bit crap last week, which put me off massively. So we are definitely looking at it being better than it was. Anyway, breaking news, sadly, the passing of Bobby Charlton, Man United England World Cup winner, footballer who's passed away today, or at least it's been announced he's passed away today, at the age of 86, which I'll be honest with you, is no real age these days. Hello Alan, hope you're well, hope everyone else is well. If you're online, I hope you're well. T, if you're on, I hope you're good as well. So let's crack on, shall we? Sunday last week, seems like a lifetime ago. It isn't, it was just Sunday last week. And we had, well, a lot of weird news going on, and not all of it good. In fact, most of it is bloody awful, to be fair. Now, we've got people supporting in the war in Israel and Gaza. The people in Gaza, and it's a tricky one because there's no real winners in this. There's no good people in the governments of either country. I don't trust either of them as far as I could throw them. What Hamas did, if it's all true, was absolutely abhorrent, but I don't think what Israel is doing to Gaza is necessarily a lot better. But war is war, isn't it? Anyway, people protesting on the streets in support of Hamas. Now, Tusk, which was an album by Fleetwood Mac, nothing to do with that, is a Polish politician, although he used to be rather big in the EU, and he was also a pain in the posterior as well. Anyway, it looks like he's become the president of Poland. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, why that happened, or when that happened, but apparently that is what has occurred. He is the president of the Poland. Just see what's going on here, just bear with me, TikTok. Oh, I'm actually live on YouTube. Who knew? Meanwhile, SNP have got their conference up and running on Sunday, and they changed the strategy at the conference, saying winning a majority would mandate talking to Parliament about having a referendum. So basically, they're backtracking and saying what we're not going to do is have a referendum no matter what. What we're going to do is we are going to speak to the government of the day, and we will ask them for a referendum. Now, both Labour and the Tories have said they won't give them a referendum, so this is probably let's blame Parliament for it rather than look like idiots. Either way, I don't think they're actually going to win much. Sadly, I think that's the thing that's going to put Labour in power, is the SNP imploding on itself. A bit like the Tories, but more of that later. Anyway, we then came along to Monday, and people are now asking the question, is the tide turning against Israel because of the continuing barrage of, basically buildings where civilians live? Now, apparently they dropped leaflets over Gaza to warn residents that their area is about to be bombed before they bomb it. Now, I don't quite know what that means. I mean, I don't think anywhere in Gaza is safe, particularly from these bombs. But anyway, that's what they do. So they're saying that they're not actually targeting civilians, they're telling the civilians to get out. The only problem is they're trying to target Hamas, and Hamas are with the civilians because apparently they're using them as human shields. Then they're going to get the leaflets as well. Therefore, they know to move out of the way. So, yeah, rock and a hard place. Anyway. What's going on? Go away, whatever you are. Thank you. Oh, I think I nearly give myself 100% then. I don't know why. 2 dead in Brussels. It was a shooting that was classed as a terrorist attack. Meanwhile, in Manchester in Piccadilly Gardens, one person severely injured following a bus crash into a cafe, and yeah, more of that a bit later, I think, or maybe not. No, it isn't. Sadly, a lady who was hit, an elderly lady who was hit by the bus a day or two later, actually passed away. Why does that say Saturday? Why does that say Saturday? So did I type in Saturday? God, what I meant to type in was Tuesday, because we're actually on Tuesday now. So, listen to the podcast, this will mean nothing. Tuesday, and there's a picture of the explosion, which was reported hundreds dead at a hospital in Gaza. Israel denied all responsibility. Early indications were that a Hamas rocket fell short of its target, although Hamas vehemently said it definitely wasn't that. It was definitely Israel who bombed the hospital and killed hundreds of people. The SNP First Minister has said they're going to freeze council tax and focus on the economy, easy for me to say, and offer a refugee programme for Gaza, so they can get people out of Gaza safely, which seems all well and good, but I think at the moment we've got that many people who shouldn't be in the UK that having more people invited, no matter what the circumstances, is not necessarily a good idea at the moment. But you know, this is what these new politicians are up to, and obviously not obviously, but his wife's family, parents are currently in Gaza visiting relatives. Meanwhile, Wednesday came along, and President Biden went to Israel, asked for Gaza to have aid, and says Israel is not to blame over the hospital blast. Now, whether it was or not is somewhat irrelevant, but I fail to see why people are falling over backwards to praise Israel. Now, what happens, like I said, by Hamas to Israel is absolutely horrendous, horrible, nasty, evil, just yucky. Just yucky. Sorry, I'm reading what's going on here as well. Hiya, Angela. It's just, yeah, absolutely horrendous. But there are millions of innocent people in Gaza, and the president of Israel has cut off the water, the electricity, and all food and medical supplies going into the country. Now, to me, that's a war crime. Don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Hamas at all. I'm merely saying that the people in Palestine deserve basic human rights, which is water, electricity, and medical supplies and food. They cannot get it anywhere else. And Israel have just said no one's allowed in, so they've blocked the border at Egypt, they've blocked the border obviously in Israel and Gaza, not letting anything in or out. I can understand why, but I don't agree why everyone is running around praising Israel for what they're doing, because I don't think they're necessarily doing good things. And the war has been going on for decades, if not longer, if not centuries, if not millennia. And I don't think anything that's happening now is going to change the outcome of it. One outcome that was surprising was the outcome of the inflation index, which basically remained unchanged at 6 point. Where has it gone? Oh, I didn't write it down. But it remains static. But food prices, apparently, you wouldn't know it, have actually come down for the first time in over a year. But fuel prices are going up, so it kind of leveled it off, and they both leveled each other out. Talking about tribes now. No idea what tribes is, and I don't care either, to be fair. Honeymooners have been murdered in Uganda whilst on a sightseeing trip. They'll have been married for 3 days. Their guide was also murdered as well. the authorities are looking for those responsible, but horrific, the happiest day of your life, and a few days later horrifically murdered in the middle of Afghanistan. Aviva Studios opens in Manchester. It's a brand new entertainment complex which has got exhibition centres, it's got a stage, performing areas, all that kind of thing. And I've been watching it being built over the last few years, because you know when I do my driving videos and I go through Manchester and then we come off or go on to the Mancunian Way, and we've got that big bridge that I was going about, that massive big arched bridge for the railway lines and the trams and all that. Behind that, from where the road is this building, and I've watched it be built over, to be fair, very many years. Anyway, it's finished, it's open, it's meant to be absolutely amazing. A weather warning was issued in Scotland, and it was a rare red weather warning, which means significant threat of death, as well as amber and yellows all over the place as well. Now, I'm not a big fan of weather warnings. I think that they often overstate what's going on. However, this is Storm Babet. God knows what it's named after. I assume a Babet. And it was heading towards us, and we had no idea on Wednesday how bad it was going to get. Now, these weather warnings, as you can see there, are from Thursday through Saturday. You're dark, Elder. Yeah. It's because I've not got a thing in my face anymore. It helps with the lighting. Weather warnings in place today and tomorrow. This is for the other day. And yeah, you can see it's just going to be pretty wet and pretty windy for the next couple of days. But red weather warnings are quite rare, apparently. Well, I think we've had a few already. I think they're too easy to give them away. Sadly, people do die in bad weather, but a lot of places don't get the weather as bad as what they predict it to be. And, well, they just panic and lock down the hatches and stay in, and then everyone has all retail places and things like that. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, 6 of one, half dozen the other. Anyway, Rishi Rich, everyone's favourite UK Prime Minister out of the last 3. He goes to Israel. Actually, probably out of the last 6. Maybe the last, they've all been crap, haven't they? Rishi Rich goes to Israel. We absolutely support Israel's right to protect and get Hamas. Now, we absolutely give them the right to protect. However, like I said before, I'm not sure that what they're doing is not tantamount to war crimes with a basically siege mentality. There are 2 by-elections going on in the UK. Both of them were very safe Conservative seats. Both of them have been vacated due to, well, basically the 2 elected Tory MPs being absolute loons. Storm Babet kills a woman in Scotland. The red warning continues. Unfortunately, she was washed away into a river. Her body was found some time later. In September 2020, do you remember Eat Out to Help Out? Well, it was one of Rishi Rich's ideas. And apparently the chief medical officer, or the chief medical woman at the time, said that this was tantamount to well, death for everyone, because we didn't know the risks still of what was going to happen. Rishi was in a tight spot, as was Boris. Obviously, Rishi was not the Prime Minister at the time. He was the Chancellor of the Exchequer. But either way, she said he was referred to as Dr. Death in various emails and things. There are a lot more of them, so I'm assuming there must be more to come. Names. Oh yes, that's right, Angela. Yeah, definitely lots more names. Because it goes up to, well, I think there's, the alphabet obviously is 26 letters, but I think they go up to 23. I think there's a few letters they don't use, probably X and Z itself, or Z if you're American. Meanwhile, on Friday, there was some good news with 2 Israeli hostages released by Hamas in the Gaza, a mother and daughter. So that shows signs of promise. Now there's 3 dead in the storm, Babet, and I've heard rumours that a lighthouse has been destroyed that's been there for hundreds of years, but I've not seen any photographs of it. And Labour, surprisingly, won the 2 by-elections by a sizable majority with a massive swing. Now, if Keir Starmer gets the job as Prime Minister, then I think we should all just leave the country, because there'll be no country to come back to, no Britain anyway. But the Tories are useless as well. What do you do? It's just really scary, the choice we have. I mean, rock in a bad place is not even close to what the issues are that we've got with the people we need to vote for. There are some great pictures of the sea crashing into things. You are right, Alan. Some of them are absolutely amazing, but we get them all the time, don't we? I mean, you could literally just show the same picture over and over again. There's that one where there's the it's a quayside quay with a lighthouse on it, and it's got some houses on it, and the waves always come up, and that's like a really popular place that they take pictures of. And yeah, that one is a good one, so we like that. This is frightening, Stormy getting closer to the Keys. Yeah, but I mean, Rishi Rich. And the problem with Rishi Rich is, I mean, he's the better one out of the ones we've had so far, but they're still rubbish. Still rubbish. Anyway, I mentioned it in the opening segment of the breaking news, but at 86, Bobby Charlton has died. It was the World Cup winning, or one of the team members of the England winning the World Cup in 1966. Been heavily involved in Manchester United. I think he was the chairman or director for a time. An all-round good egg. Seemed like a decent guy. He had his brother Jackie, who died a few years ago. I think Jackie might have been older. Jackie being the the manager of what was it? Republic of Ireland, I think it was, and did very well at that job as well. But yeah, sadly, Bobby Charlton has passed away at the age of 86. Meanwhile, Storm Babet is causing heavy rain now in Derbyshire as well as Scotland. There's a new weather warning currently up, red weather warning in Scotland and yellow weather warnings everywhere. In Wigan we've had call again, as we do. Literally nothing out of the ordinary, yet we're still under an amber weather warning. Like I say, I think they just give them out too easily. I'm not disputing the one in Scotland. Obviously 3 people have tragically died in Scotland, so that is pretty horrific. But I do think they just give them out willy-nilly, and they just scare people. And people will realise, well, hang on a minute, we had an amber weather warning, nothing really happens. And then we might get another amber weather warning in a few weeks, few months, and people think, well, nothing happened last time, go out, and then they end up getting hurt or killed. You've got to get the balance right, but with weather it's very difficult. And I think they should be only giving warnings out when they are sure, because they got it pretty much spot on with the red weather warning, and those kind of things. I didn't like Jackie. He was a supporter of blood sports. Yeah, he always did have a flat cap on, didn't he, and a rifle in his arm. Not in his arm, he wasn't like a Terminator. No, I don't mean in his arm. Anyway, finally, some aid actually does get into Gaza to ease the situation of the Palestine civilians. I think the main issue is the fact that the entrance to Gaza there is too low for the lorries to get through, by the looks of it. Go away, Malware Bites. It's just getting in my line of sight, and I can't turn it off. There we did. There we did. They do, don't they? Do. And yeah, it's they don't want Hamas to get hold of the goods, but I mean, what do you do for the sake of a few hundred people not getting aid? Let millions starve to death. Let millions die from dehydration. Let millions die from not having medication for simple things. I mean, like I say, it's a thin line between war and war crimes, and I think the Israeli blockade is. I understand why they've done it, because like I said before, what happened in Israel is almost unprecedented and an absolute nightmare from the terrorists that are Hamas. But not all Palestinians are in the Hamas, not all Palestinians are terrorists, and we've got to look after the people. It's like, you know, if the IRA blew up, which they did, Manchester, but say, God forbid, they'd have killed loads of people in Manchester in the 1990s, and England decided, right, because of that, we're just going to shut the borders for Northern Ireland. So no one can get in or out of Northern Ireland. We're going to get no food and we're going to cut all the electricity off. We're going to do that, and then we're going to send bombs in there as well. I mean, it's... I don't understand why we're supporting Israel so openly. It should be like, look, we understand what you're doing, but you've got to play by the rules and you've got to protect innocent people's lives. And like I said, I'm not defending in any way what happened to Hamas, what Hamas did in Israel, not in the slightest. But I still think that there are people in Palestine who deserve the chance of survival and not starving to death. It's not medieval times. Talking of which, pro-Palestine march in London. Apparently 100,000 people attended this march in that there London, and supporting Palestine. However, the Met Police, you know, that trustworthy organisation, said that if anyone's supporting Hamas, or you've got a Hamas flag, or you've got a sign saying you support Hamas, you would instantly be arrested and charged with possibly terrorist activity. I don't know. But yeah, it's not Hamas that we're worried about. It's the innocent children, families, elderly in Palestine, Gaza Strip, who are Palestinians, who are being tortured. I mean, they're being tortured by Hamas, and they're meant to be their government. Never mind Israel bowling in on them as well and killing them all. It's just ridiculous. It really is. But I mean, like I said before, it's war. What is war? War is just evil. Anyway, talking of evil, let's go to America. What is going on in America? I want to see America. He wants to go to America. Once again, we're not doing gun crime, which basically reduces the number of pictures and stories by about 60%, because everything is pretty much about shootings in America, usually children shooting children, or people being accidentally killed by a stray bullet, which seems to be alright in America. So yeah, here we go. First off, Georgia man slapped with a $1.4 million speeding ticket for driving 35 miles an hour over the speed limit. Now, talk about excessive. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. But I don't want to do that, to be fair. I don't want to do that. I want to do this way, because that doesn't make sense. Not doing guns. I will do guns soon though. He was fast and then furious. Well, hey, see what they did there. A man caught speeding down a Georgia freeway was bewildered when cops slapped him with a $1.4 million ticket. Connor Cato was driving home through Savannah when a Georgia State patrol caught him going 90 in a 55 mile an hour zone. He admitted to the TV station that he expected a hefty fine, but he was astounded when he was handed a 7-figure charge. Now, I'll be honest, when it said driving 35 mile an hour over the limit, I thought it was the 35 mile an hour. The limit was 30 and he was driving 35, and I thought 1.4 million was a bit excessive. But having read it properly now, he was doing 90 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone. I'm like, you know what? Yep, that'll stop him. He won't do that again, will he? Biden considers visits to Israel as full-scale invasion of Gaza looms. Obviously, this was before Biden actually went. President Biden is considering visiting Israel in the coming days, despite the looming threat of a full-scale ground invasion by the Middle Eastern country into Gaza. The Commander-in-Chief has not made any official travel plans to Israel, as it enters its second week at war with Hamas. Oh, advert. Oh, you've got an advert, have you? Sorry. Oh, I didn't see that because I had my thingy open. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Let's drop that down a little bit. There we go. Right, I can see where the adverts are coming from now. Is the advert over? Is the advert over? Has the advert gone? Apologies. Apologies for the advert. I do apologise. Yep. You got the ad as well. We'll wait for the advert to go and then we'll carry on. Because apparently I thought it would pause it and then carry on, but it doesn't. And I didn't know the ad was on. Right, the advert's over. Right, Biden considers visit to Israel as full-scale invasion of Gaza looms. I also said as well, if you missed it, that that guy deserved over $1 million fine for going 35 miles an hour over the speed limit, doing 90 in a 55, because that's beyond reckless, and he won't do it again. The Biden considers to visit Israel as full-scale invasion of Gaza looms, as we are more than aware. But obviously at that point he hadn't actually gone, because it was earlier. Nebraska funeral worker fired after using a sex doll of dead man he was tasked to collect. A Nebraska funeral worker was busted after he had sex with a life-size doll that belonged to the dead man he was tasked to transport. Ryan Smith, 41, was arrested on charges of burglary, criminal trespass and tampering with physical evidence, and was promptly fired from his Almala mortuary gig. Smith became smitten with the doll after spotting it inside the Rock Creek home of the deceased man he was there to collect. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Hiya, Cornwall here. Greetings to Cornwall. The senior. Had a busy day. I'll watch the replay tomorrow. Bit of humour. Yeah, I'm trying to put a bit of humour in it, to be fair, because the news at the moment is miserable as hell. But that's what it is, isn't it? It's news. News rarely is funny. This is not even funny either. Illinois man stabbed 6-year-old Muslim boy 26 times in hate crime motivated by Israel-Hamas war. This is the problem we've got. And this is what I was talking about the other week. I don't know whether I did it on here or whether I did it in the paper. But I said, if there's a cricket match between England and, say, Pakistan, i.e. a neutral country, you get second, third generation Pakistani people going to support Pakistan. Second, third generation people born in Britain from Pakistani heritage going supporting Japan. And you're like, not Japan, England. Let's start again, shall we? So an England-Pakistani match, and you get a lot of people who live in England, born in England, supporting Pakistan because it's their heritage. And you're like, okay, fair enough, get that. Technically, you should be supporting England because you were born in England, you've been brought up in England and that kind of thing, but I kind of get where you're coming from. And when it's sport, it's all a bit of a giggle, it's all a bit of fun. But what happens if we go to war with Pakistan? Or who did they fight for then? Are we not... I'm not saying we're going to go to war with Pakistan, but are we not building issues for the future where these people that we're letting in, not Pakistanis, I'm on about the illegal migrants, immigrants, whatever you want to call them, we don't know where they're from, we don't know what countries they're from. If we start falling out with their country, like we start bombing Syria again or something like that, will they not be in our country to fight within our country for their country that they've left? It's all very complicated, it's all very scary. And yeah, it does feel a bit like the Britishness of Britain is being diluted deliberately. It's not just Britain, it's all over Europe, it's America, it was Australia, but they've slammed a thing on it. Yeah, everyone's talking about the cold, and they're not wrong, it's a bit nippy. I even put the heating on yesterday just to check it worked. It's off again now. A Florida woman beat up mum, stole her car, and then hit her with it. A Florida woman allegedly beat her own mother up after an argument and then stole the car and hit her with her own car, according to police. 25-year-old was pictured grinning widely in a mugshot released by the Brevard County Sheriff's Office after she was booked on charges of aggravated battery, carjacking for the assault last week. I mean, I'm not an expert on these things, but I think there's more involved than just someone having an argument. I think there may be substances, maybe. Ice cream trucks turn into morgues for Palestinian bodies at cemeteries, as cemeteries and hospitals fill up. The corpses of Palestinians are being put into ice cream trucks for storage as hospitals and cemeteries are falling short of space during the raging war between Israel and Hamas, health officials have said. Horrifying images from Gaza capture a surreal scene of medical personnel loading the commercial ice cream trucks with ads on for ice cream with bodies of the deceased. Yeah, you can't imagine what it's like being in a war. I mean, we've been talking about Ukraine for, you know, almost 2 years now and what's going on there. And obviously there's been wars all over the place, but stuff like that, it's just insane that's the situation they're in. Powerful earthquake shakes West Afghanistan a week after devastating quakes hit the same region. I've not seen much reported on UK TV about this, but a powerful 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck western Afghanistan just over a week after strong quakes and aftershocks killed thousands of people and flattened entire villages in the same province. And those houses are not built. They're not like the ones in America. I mean, when the big one comes to San Francisco, it's going to destroy San Francisco, but by no stretch of the imagination like it would have done 50 years ago, 100 years ago, because the buildings are built to withstand fairly substantial earthquakes by law. But these people live in the poorest parts of the world. They literally live in breeze block mud buildings, and when earthquakes come, the buildings just collapse, and if you're inside there, you've got no chance. It's just horrible. I've seen that about the ice cream trucks. What a nuts world we live in. Yeah, I mean, it's genius that someone's coming up with the idea, to be fair, but yeah, it's just horrific what people are going through. And like I've said, many times, I am not in any way defending Hamas. I'm merely saying that the people of Palestine deserve human rights too. It's just ridiculous that we are supporting Israel doing what they're doing. I get they've got to get the revenge. I get all that. But I just don't believe that punishing innocent people and killing innocent people is a way forward. I mean, in this day and age, with the surveillance the way it is, and the way rockets are and everything, you could literally hit someone on the head with a rocket, a small rocket, and kill them. You don't have to destroy entire buildings. I've seen videos of buildings looking like it's a controlled explosion. I mean, how is that even allowed? Again, probably because the buildings aren't built very well, but literally they just come down like a pack of cards, like you're watching one of these, controlled explosion TV shows, which are very entertaining. But when you see it like that, it's absolutely horrific. I've heard Israel are going in harder with missiles starting tonight. Yes, me too. And also, obviously, the land invasion as well. Now, to be fair, I think the land invasion is probably a better way of doing it. Because you're not going in, you can actually see what you're targeting in a land invasion. I know it's a bit old-fashioned and all that, but I think that is the best way forward. Several BBC reporters taken off air for alleged pro-Hamas posts. Again, this is on their private social media. Now, again, I would never support Hamas in a million years, but I do support the right of life for people who are innocently caught up in situations like this. But the BBC has removed several Middle East reporters from air amid allegations that they post support for Hamas in its terrorist attacks on Israel. Now, the main issue we've got with the BBC is that they are not calling Hamas terrorists. And they say that they don't call anyone terrorists, but I'm pretty sure that when we have an attack in the UK by a Muslim, we refer to it as a terrorist attack, and I'm sure the BBC do. I'm sure the BBC have referred to people who've killed people around the world as terrorists. So why Hamas are not being called terrorists is beyond me. What the BBC say is, and the Hamas called terrorists by the UK government, but not by the BBC, whereas everyone else is calling them out as terrorists because they are terrorists. It's just, I don't know, it's just so, the whole thing is just up, let's be honest. Anyway, it's BBC Arabic reporters, including those reporting out of Egypt and Lebanon, appear to back Palestinians or criticise the Jewish state in posts they either tweeted or liked. Yeah, you've got to support, the Palestinians are humans too, and like I said, what Hamas did was a terrorist attack. It was outrageous, it deserves punishment, but not all the people of Palestine deserve that punishment. And you know, if you can, we've watched videos for years of missiles going in and just blowing up a little thing and destroying it, missile launches, even a few men running through a trench, and it just takes them out, but no one else is hurt. I have no issue with that at all. But what they're doing, basically carpet bombing, they're basically blitzing Gaza, and we've moved on since World War II. I hope to God we have anyway. Anyway, no doubt it'll come up again, because it does. California to introduce traffic speed cameras which find motorists for the first time ever. And you're like, what? California drivers will not be smiling for the camera. 6 cities in the Golden State will install speed cameras at busy intersections as soon as next year, after the governor signed a new law authorizing speed camera program, the first time they have ever been allowed in the state. The cameras are slated to be installed in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, Long Beach, Glendale and San Jose. Wow, I didn't know there was anywhere left in the world that didn't have a speed camera. I mean, you go to China. I haven't, obviously, but I've watched, what's it called, Clarkson, when he went to China. I can't remember whether it was Top Gear or whether it was the early episodes of the Grand Tour. And they're in China, and there's all them massive, I think it was a Grand Tour actually, all them massive roads that they built in China in about 3 weeks that are like 100 feet off the ground and go over rainforests and round mountains and all that kind of thing. And they've got a gazillion cameras on them that just going taking pictures all the time. It's like going into a celebrity book launch or something similar. It's just very peculiar. And then in Los Angeles, nothing. How many police cops are going to lose their jobs or be moved to a desk job? I don't know. I mean, to be fair, it's probably safer for the public if they're not actually out there with the guns. So maybe stick them on a desk job. Maybe they can look after the entire world's problem with the internet. That might work. Improperly stored remains of nearly 200 people removed from Colorado funeral home in horrific scenes. Nearly 200 decomposing bodies have been removed from an eco-friendly Colorado funeral home, a dramatic increase from the initial 115 sets of remains discovered decaying and improperly stored 2 weeks ago. At least 189 bodies were removed after being found at Return to Nature Funeral Home, an eco-conscious mortuary in the rural town of Penrose. Now, I'm all for this, you know. I don't know actually. I don't want to die, I'll be honest, so I don't want to think about it, but it's one of those things that, do you want to be buried, or do you want to be burnt, or do you want to be used as compost? And I think this was the do you want to be used as compost thing, but obviously it's gone horrifically wrong, either by deception, i.e. We'll jump on the green bandwagon, make loads of money, but we won't do anything, but we'll get these bodies and we'll just put them over here, no one will notice, or it's a case of they meant well, but it's just gone horribly wrong. It's just doesn't bear thinking about. It really doesn't bear thinking about what is going on there. Will you be covering the end of Stampy's Lovely World? Who's Stampy? And why is there a heart there? It just ended. Oh, I've no idea what Stamp is. I've no idea what Stampy is, Lovely World or otherwise. Hi Paul, by the way, welcome. And Matt as well, I don't think I said hi to Matt. Lawyer for suspect in Tupac Shakur's killing cites obvious defences. No gun, no car, no witness. Now I didn't know there was no witness. That's what always gets me. It wasn't me, because no one saw me do it. Oh, dumb. Marty. Oh, hang on. Oh no, I've already done that joke, haven't I, with you? I moved it somewhere. But I've got your DVD. I'm still watching you when you're on. He's our token dead person. We're very open-minded here, and we're very inclusive as well. We even include the dead. I have got it. There you go. Randall and Hopkirk deceased. So yeah, getting a bit out of my thing then. I've gotten a bit confuzzled. Right then. Oh, hang on. I think we've got an advert coming. Hang on. I've seen it. I might be able to stop it. Oh, hang on. Can I stop it? Oh no, it's not an advert at all. It's just that thing that scrolls at the bottom. Oh, Stampy the Minecraft YouTuber from what? 18,000 years in the future. Near enough. Wow. Never heard of them, sorry. But anyway, well done, Stampy, for your time travel and your massive YouTube stuff you've done on Minecraft over the last previous in your life millennia. Well done. There you go. Bigfoot expert weighs in on Colorado footage. Notices one surprising detail. Yeah, it's a man in a fucking costume. I mean, it's not surprising, is it? But that's not what he says. Bigfoot expert has weighed in on a couple's... hang on, I need to make this a bit bigger. Couples claim that they captured the mythological creature Bigfoot on camera while they were on a romantic break in Colorado. Michael Rugg, double G, curator of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum in California, told the Post he couldn't debunk the footage of the alleged Bigfoot wandering on the side of a mountain before crouching down to rest, but he was suspicious about it. Yeah, that's because he knows that Bigfoot doesn't exist. I've never heard of Stampy. You've spelled it two different ways now as well, which is going to confuse me even more. But no, I've never heard of Stampy, I'm sorry. New York City lifts cap on for-hire cars provided they're electric. So this is bad news for the yellow cabs of New York City. The Big Apple has lifted a cap on the number of cars ride-hailing services like Uber and Lyft, and they can have on the city's roads. But there's one catch: the vehicles must be electric. Now this is, again, it's going down the wrong route. Electricity is not the way forward. As I wrote in the paper this week, right in the local Wigan Observer, there's been a few car fires in multi-storey hotels. I say a few, two. There was one in Liverpool a couple of years ago which destroyed hundreds of cars and the actual car park itself. And then last week or the week before, there was one in Luton that destroyed the car park and hundreds of cars. And neither of them were electric cars. So you're like, well, your argument's out the window then, isn't it? No, my argument is exactly in the window. It was an electrical fault on two vehicles, separate incidents obviously, that caused the fire in diesel petrol engine cars, which then spread to the entire garage. Have you ever seen an electric car on fire? Videos of are available on YouTube because they're catching fire like crazy. One of them goes up and your car park is full of electric cars. That place is going to be an environmental disaster zone, not only in the immediate area, because it's going to burn for days, because you cannot put lithium battery fires out very easily, particularly if it's in the middle of a car park. How the hell are you going to put that out? Also, you've got all the fumes coming off it, and then you've got the residue of all the melting plastic and all the melting lithium and everything that's going to come down and contaminate the ground and possibly the waterways as well. So the whole thing is an anathema. Electric cars are not the future. Check out various other videos I've done where I've actually gone into more detail of it, but this is yet another thing that I'm saying about electric cars, which is BS, that they are going to solve the planet's problems, alleged planet's problems. Matt Francis is off to bed. Night Matt. Electric cars are the way forward. I'm not falling for that, Alan. Yeah, I've been busy today. I'm listening to audiobooks in bed. I'll watch the rest of this tomorrow. It's on my watch later. I think Paul is spam. Sorry, I disagree. They need to go. They are so noisy. It's a possibility that they are so noisy. But yeah, we don't know, do we? What? No, I'm not even... No, I've got myself confused then with that. The electric cars are not actually that noisy. In fact, one of them drove past me the other day, and I genuinely thought I'd had a flashback to the 1970s, and it was the milk float. I was expecting someone to sing Ernie drove the fastest milk cart in the land. But I didn't, so we're all good. Right, let's get back on it, shall we? Get back on it. This is genius. I mean, genius. A Polish crook pretended to be a mannequin to get locked into a mall for an all-night crime spree. I mean, you'd at least go into a window of a shop where the mannequin actually looked like you, because that mannequin stood next to him with the t-shirt and the open shirt is obviously one of these android type mannequins, which is like either grey or black in colour and non-human, where he's obviously just a bloke stood there holding a shopping bag. But what a dummy. A suspected crook has been accused of going on an all-night crime spree in a Polish shopping mall after pretending to be a mannequin to get locked in. The 22-year-old suspect faces up to 10 years in prison for allegedly hunting throughout the Warsaw Mall once every left of the night, stealing jewellery and clothes and treating himself. So he did it multiple times and no one noticed? What? I thought they got him before he actually managed to do anything. So he'd done it multiple times, no one noticed. I mean, I've been involved in shopping malls for many years, and I tell you what, shopping malls have security on them 24 hours a day. Okay, it's a bit more skeleton in the evenings, but it's I want a dark coloured electric BMW. See you, Francis. Yeah, it's I'm absolutely bamboozled by the fact he actually managed to steal stuff with such a lame idea. I'll take it all back. Genius. Several dozen dead in Gaza City Hospital blast, not 471, Israel says. Now, how Israel knows, I have no idea. But several dozen people lost their lives in a Tuesday blast outside a Gaza City hospital, not nearly 500 as Hamas had claimed. This is a spokesman for the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The clarification came after Israel and the US said that the preliminary evidence suggested the explosion was sparked by a Hamas rocket misfire, which the militant group blame on Israel, and inflated the death. I mean, it's war. People do inflate things, as I've said before with the Ukraine war. if you're listening to the United Kingdom, Europe, the UK, whatever, you take whatever they say with a pinch of salt. If you listen to Ukraine, it's a pot of salt. If you listen to Russia, it's a truck of salt. And if you listen to China, it's a salt mine. That's how much propaganda goes on. So anything anyone says, you've always got to take with a pinch of salt. But if you get an opportunity to make people look bad, I'm sure Hamas have done that in this case, then that seems what they've done. However, having looked at the footage, you can clearly see from behind the hospital, as the camera's looking, missiles taking off, multiple missiles, but then one of them looks a little bit, takes off but kind of goes a funny colour, and then a few seconds later there's a massive explosion on the ground. There's nothing coming the other way, so one assumes that it is a Hamas rocket that has gone faulty. Sadly, they do that, but for Hamas initially to blame Israel is understandable because of all the rockets and missiles and everything that come in, but surely you've got to hold your hands up and say, well, actually, no, it was one of ours that's gone wrong. But then, do you lose face? I don't know. Either way, Hamas are not to be trusted. I mean, I was on about a salt mine. I'd probably, with China, I'd probably say 3 salt mines if you're listening to Hamas, because they're terrorists at the end of the day. But again, I just feel sorry for the people who are stuck in this situation. Keep warm and dry. I will try. I'll try. What time as usual start? Yeah, 8 o'clock usually on a Saturday. You take care anyway. Miami dentist fired after he was caught tearing down posters of Israeli hostages. Now, there's been a few people doing that in America mainly. A South Florida dentist was fired after he was caught on camera tearing down posters of Israeli hostages plastered across Miami. An act he claims was intended to quell racially charged hatred in the city. Dr. Ahmed Ekusa was quickly identified as one of the 2 men who tore down the banners on the roughly 200 people kidnapped by Hamas that were posted throughout the trendy suburbs he lives in. Now, I get why people would put posters up. I don't think posters in a foreign country for where something's happening is helpful for the people who are involved, but it does raise awareness of the situation. So yeah, fair enough. And I think anyone who tears them down, like the women who were doing it, I don't think you saw the videos of the women tearing down posters as well. I think that was again in America. Are just sick in the head, and you know, there's a lot of tensions, and I don't think his claim he wants to calm down the racial divide in his area is necessarily going to win any favours off anyone. Disapproval ratings for President Biden hits a record high of 58% in a new poll. President Biden's disapproval rating is the highest it's ever been as the 80-year-old incumbent president vies for a second term in office, according to a new poll. A record 58% of Americans do not approve of Biden's performance in the White House. A CNBC survey released found the president received particularly low marks for his handling of the economy, 32% approve, and foreign policy, 31% approve. So yeah, to be fair, I still haven't figured out how he's still president of the United States of America. I mean, it baffles me. I mean, Trump was bad, but my God. A Florida street racer driving 80 miles an hour goes airborne and lands in a canal, and it's all caught on camera. See, I thought that was a finger pointing through a window, but it's actually a car entering the water. A Florida man street racing at 80 miles an hour in a residential neighborhood has lost control and went airborne before his Dodge Challenger landed in a canal. The unidentified man had been rescued from his sinking car after the wild crash in Cape Coral that was caught on camera and witnessed by stunned neighbours. The driver was racing a Mercedes. I'm surprised it wasn't a BMW at high speed. Obviously dark coloured BMW. But no, yeah. Again, he should get a multi-million-dollar fine. How sniffer dogs are being used to combat child pornography in Australia. You're like, what? Police sniffer dogs trained to detect child abuse material and digital terrorism are being used to crack down on a significant rise of online crime in Australia. Nearly 24 technological detection dogs have been deployed by federal authorities in order to sniff out criminals' hidden mobile phones, USB drives and memory cards, and easily concealed SIM cards. So, right, okay, that's a bit misleading then, because when I saw the picture of a dog sniffing books, I'm like, how does the dog know that there's pornography in the books? I mean, that's a bloody good sniffer dog. The only thing I could think of is it knows the pages are stuck together. But no, it's actually been trained to sniff out hidden tech. So your SIM cards, your USB cards, things like that, things you hide when the police come and search your house. Apparently, I wouldn't know. But yeah, actually, it seems like a good idea after all. Amazing how my mind changes when I read these things sometimes. Biden says Palestinians got to learn how to shoot straight after a hospital blast that killed about 500 people. Yeah, come on, President Biden. That's the way to sum the troops up. I'm not even going to give him the pleasure of talking him out of that one. The guy's just an absolute moron. China growing navy, nukes, and Russia tries to counter US. US defense officials were increasingly worried about Moscow and Beijing's deepening relationship, particularly as China grows its nuclear capabilities, according to a new report. The Pentagon's annual assessment of military and security developments involving the People's Republic of China, produced for Congress, revealed that Beijing has likely surpassed last year's record numbers of new weapons. They're being a bit naughty. Pentagon says it received 291 UFO sightings over the past year. You're like, wow. But no, it's not just around Pentagon. It's around the whole country, not the whole world. So you're like, oh, maybe not then. The Pentagon has investigated nearly 300 UFO sightings over the past year. Oh, they're back to UFOs again now, aren't they? Some of which they fear may actually be creations of foreign governments trying to spy on the US. You mean like a fucking balloon? That the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office received 274 confirmed sightings from April 31st, 2022 through April 30th, 2023. The agency has also been looking into 17 other sightings that have occurred between 2019 and 2022 and not been included in prior reports. So it's basically fake news. Not that we didn't know that already, because it's about aliens. Biden appeared to read teleprompter instructions to make it clear during national address. It's a bit like, you know, when you see like lower TV channels and they've got stuff up and it, you know, it's like insert name here, insert dialogue here and all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, President Biden began his rare address to the nation from the Oval Office by staring aimlessly at the camera and stumbling over his words, and then seemingly reading his teleprompter instructions. The 80-year-old commander-in-chief looked around seemingly unaware that he was on live camera before starting to speak as he squinted in the glare of the lights. At one point, he was heard to say, "Make it clear," during the speech. I've seen something unexplainable in the sky over here. No one will believe me, but I know what I saw. Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline. Uh-oh, bad news. They've been away for a while, but they're back. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Christmas plans could mean sad news for King Charles. Yeah, there's a possibility they might be coming to the UK to see him. I mean, that would be tragic for King Charles. Can you imagine? Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Christmas plans might result in hardly any festive cheer for King Charles, a royal expert has claimed. So who's this royal expert? Oh, it's Tessa Dunlop, a royal expert and historian. Yeah, absolute nonsense. And let's be honest, who really cares? I don't think even King Charles cares, to be fair. No punchline, I'll tell you what when I see you. Alright, okay. All I want to do is see you again. Is that too much to ask for? Donald Trump threatened with jail time over blatant violation of gag order in New York City fraud trial. Manhattan judge overseeing Donald Trump's $250 million civil fraud trial threatened the ex-president with jail time for a blatant violation of a gag order after Trump failed to remove a screenshot of a social media post attacking the judge's clerk from his campaign website. Yeah, he got away with it though, with a little fine of about, well, the equivalent of a penny, about 10 grand or something daft like that. But yeah, for Trump, it's about a penny in it. Well, actually, it's probably about a tenner, to be fair, because he's not as rich as he makes out, which is the whole point of the thing. Biden claims Hamas attacked Israel to stop Saudi Arabia from recognising the Jewish state. And I'm like, what? One of the goals of Hamas' terrorist attack on Israel was to disrupt efforts to normalise relations between Saudi Arabia and the Jewish state, President Biden said yesterday. One of the reasons why they acted like they did, why Hamas moved on Israel, is because they knew I was about to sit down with the Saudis, Biden said at a campaign fundraising event in Washington. Because the Saudis wanted to recognise Israel and he was the peace broker. God, if you're relying on Biden for anything, then yeah, that's desperate, isn't it? Thieves smash truck through front of Florida jewellery store in botched robbery. Dramatic security footage shows the moment where three masked thieves smashed a truck through the front of a Florida jewellery store and then leave empty-handed. A loud bang and the sound of shattering glass can be heard the minute the flatbed truck backs through the front entrance of the International Jewelers Exchange, destroying the doors and display cases. The men get out the truck, but they can't get in because the truck's blocking the way, so they run off with nothing. Well done. Another rainy start to the weekend, but clear days ahead for New York City. Yes, the weather's crap everywhere. Crimea River, literally. The Big Apple woke up to more rain for the 7th weekend in a row as a coastal storm travelled north, bringing with it heavy rain and strong winds to parts of the east coast. But there is light at the end of the dusk, gloomy tunnel. Great news, we might see some blue skies before sunset on Sunday. Should be relatively nice. Relatively nice. Not nice. Not good, just relatively nice. It's kind of okay, you know. Kind of okay. Biden repeats same story word for word, just minutes apart, raising fresh concerns about age. Oh. Yeah, no, I've read that one. I haven't done it this week. Come on, give me a thing. And that's it for the American news. Lol, America. What went on in America? Not a lot went on in America. Mainly because I cut the gun crime out. Let's look at Australia. What's going on in Australia? We want to go to Australia. So yeah, we're going down under, mate. And we'll see what's going on in that there down under thing. This is shocking news. Amsterdam is set to rise its tourist tax, which basically means if you go into Amsterdam, you will have to pay more to get into the country. It breaks its own record for having the highest tourist tax in Europe. Basically, they are trying to stop people going to Amsterdam to smoke the green stuff. Europe summer will be a little pricier next year for those visiting Amsterdam, with the government's budget revealing an increased tourist tax. The rate will mean fees built into hotel rooms and cruise ship prices will jump, helping the popular city combat over-tourism. G'day, Sheila. Well, I don't know what that was. Victorian man fights off a 2-metre tall kangaroo who took one of his pet dogs and tried to drown it. Now, I'm not an expert. Doesn't look like he's trying to drown it there. No wonder the dog looks worried. Anyway, the good news is that the dog was safe and the roo, well, he had to go and sort himself out. Australia could be cashless by 2030. Experts are warning that the change is inevitable. Cash is no longer king. It should be. Australia could be completely cashless by the end of the decade, a finance expert has warned. About 40% of Aussies are now comfortable leaving home without their actual wallets or even a credit or debit card. And this is worrying, as I've said many times before, because if you've got cash, you can go anywhere and buy anything and no one knows about it apart from you and the person who you're buying the stuff from. I'm not on about illegal substances or illegal items. I'm on about just shopping in general. If you use a debit card, a credit card, your mobile phone with an app on it, or your app from your bank or whatever, they know everything about you. They know your age, your address, how often you visit those premises, what you bought. It's all tied in. They know everything about you. And then if your bank, if NatWest decides that Tesco is not really for them, and they've bought shares in Asda, then they can stop every NatWest customer shopping at Tesco. At Tesco, because there's no cash, and you can't use your card or your app or whatever. You're screwed. So cash has got to be. We've still got to have an option of cash, and I think anyone who says otherwise is wrong. Alan's a bit of a cheating mixer. Not a mixer, cheating mixer. Man charged over comments at Palestine rally. A man has been charged after allegedly making offensive comments during a pro-Palestinian rally in Sydney over the weekend. Police arrested the 63-year-old at a home in Mount Druitt in Sydney's west last night. The man had been granted bail and will face court next month. Like I say, if you're standing up for Hamas, there's something wrong about you, but you can't stand up for Israel if they're doing what they're doing either. He's a cheeky minx. Yes, that's a very good description. He's a cheeky minx. Oh, you cheeky minx. Companies to take on a 4-day work week. Companies around the world have started trialling a 4-day work week on global movements to reduce office hours. More than 90% of companies who trialled the 32-hour week have implemented it permanently. So basically, what they're saying is they can get as much work out of people and still pay people the same amount of money, but they get an extra day off, and people are more likely to work harder in the 4 days they're in because they are getting 3 days off during the week. And also those 3 days off during the week mean that they are more relaxed and more rested when they go back to work. So it kind of works in that respect. When you work for yourself, it doesn't work like that. My last day off was Easter Sunday, and we're currently on the 21st of October. My next day off, scheduled, unless I'm ill or anything else happens, is Christmas Day. Can't wait. And that's one of the busiest days of the year for me, because I cook Christmas dinner, go to my mum's, eat Christmas dinner, drive back. It's just a mad day. Flight cancelled due to defecation incidents. Now, we had one of these a few weeks ago where there was explosive diarrhea literally trickling down the middle of the aeroplane. But this time, passengers were forced to disembark after someone on board defecated on the bathroom floor. Well, it must have been turbulence, that's all I can say. Of one form or another, anyway. Glencore to close Mount Isa copper mine. Now, of all the times that we need more copper because of this stupid fallacy that electric cars are the way forward, and they decide to close a copper mine. Glencore has this morning announced it will cease its Mount Isa mining operations, threatening the future of about 1,200 workers. The global resources company said the copper mining operation has reached its end of life. Well, they are very short-sighted because we have to electrify more the entire world for these stupid electric cars that they're coming up with. So that your copper mine that you've got there that's set up and everything, that copper that you're mining and now say isn't cost effective is going to be worth so much money, you'll be reopening this within 6 months. Oh, the diarrhea. I wonder why there was vomit emojis coming up. Netflix scraps cheapest plan in Australia. The streaming giant is axing a popular option. Now, the problem you've got is if you go digital fully, as we were on about with the banking before, if you go digital fully, you are at the beck and call of companies who can then basically charge whatever they want. So I remember when games started being bought online for 40 quid and people were sharing the games, so it was 20 quid each, and I said it won't be long before you're paying 40 quid each, and then it won't be long before the companies decide that you can't share your password anymore, so you'll then be paying 80 quid each. Well, going off what's happened to Netflix, I can see Microsoft and Sony doing that sooner rather than later. Netflix is scrapping its cheapest ad-free subscription in order for a range option for a range of countries, including Australia. Yeah, it's basically saying that you can watch Netflix at a cheaper rate, but it won't be ad-free. So they're getting the income from you, the viewer, but they're also getting income from the advertiser as well. And that way they make double the money. But of course you can't share the passwords anymore. So that means they're making double the money. So yeah, they're just cashing in, and everyone's going to do it. And that's another problem with digital technology. It's just really, 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 well, it's just crap. It's not good for the consumer, put it that way. Christmas posting cut-off dates revealed. Don't miss out. This is in Australia, obviously. Australia Post has announced strict deadlines for when parcels need to be posted in time for the holidays. So, if you're in Australia, if you've got friends in Australia and you want a gift off them, make sure they are aware of these dates. Domestic, standard, which I assume is second class, is the 18th of December. Express, which I assume is first class, is the 21st of December. International, economy and air is 16th to 29th of November, which isn't that far off. Standard is 23rd of November to the 7th of December, and Express is the 30th of November to the 13th of December. Aussie sending to and from Western Australia and NT, Northern Territories, should allow extra dates. So basically, yeah, you're screwed if you live in Australia if you haven't posted your letters by the end of November, because they ain't going anywhere abroad, put it that way. Should liquor bottles have graphic warning labels? Health groups are calling for a change to alcohol packaging. Aussies could see confronting health warnings printed on their liquor bottles as health experts and the government look at new ways to raise awareness about the high risk of alcohol consumption. I think it's a good idea because people drink too much these days. And I think putting someone with a enlarged liver on the front of a beer bottle will stop people drinking alcohol. Even thinking about it's putting me off. Oh. It's just emotion that's making me high. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. We'll wait for Angela to come back. And anyone else who's got an advert. Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Norland Glass. What's Norland Glass? What's Norland Glass? What's devotion? I mean, do they know what I'm talking about, these companies? Are you back? Angela's back. So, I don't really got my incredibly good jokes. Done. Should liquor bottles have graphic warning labels? I think they should, because just thinking about putting graphic warning labels on alcohol is putting me off alcohol. You won't get me drinking alcohol. With thinking of warning labels and thinking of stuff on it. Pardon me. Not something we're familiar with over here, but the Wiggles hit the black carpet in Sydney last night for a world premiere of their new documentary. Hot Potato, the story of the Wiggles, will launch on Amazon Prime next Tuesday, October the 24th. Now, if you're like me, you're like, who the are the Wiggles? Well, don't worry, I haven't got a fucking clue. The Wiggles are a kiddies TV programme where they label everything. For example, a big red car And they do silly things. It's basically the Chuckle Brothers, but with Wiggles. Yeah. Anyway, they've got their own Amazon Prime show. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Cute Animal Time is not on now. It's believed a great white shark found washed up on the shore of Cape Bridgewater is likely the victim of another larger marine predator. The carcass found with its tail and head intact, but most of the midsection missing. Yeah, and you think it was a larger marine predator? No poo, Sherlock. Well done. Expert, obviously. Expert. Airfares to increase as fuel costs soar. Qantas is to increase airfares by 3.5% and Jetstar, me neither, 3%. Travellers have been warned that Jetstar and Qantas airfares will increase from October the 27th as fuel costs soar. So if you want to get to Australia, you need to do it in the next week, less than next week. You've got 5 days basically to get yourself to Australia to save on the airfare hike. But they put it down again though when fuel prices come down. No, they won't do that. No, why would we do that? That would be ridiculous. Anyway, that's the news from Australia, which brings us to the bits that I do where it's stuff that makes me laugh, stuff that makes me go, ah, stuff that makes me go, huh? Basically, stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else. So some of the fun stuff, some serious stuff in here as well, but yeah, we'll have a look, shall we? First off, Paul Barton, Alan's brother, apparently. Is a pianist who once performed in front of packed concert halls in Yorkshire. He now lives in Thailand, where he performs for blind and handicapped elephants. People just need to flap their arms hard. Not playing the piano. I mean, that's the Qantas airfare rise thing. Yeah, flap your arms harder. UK's worst estate, residents left to rot in no-go zone full of crackheads. A housing estate built in the 1970s was meant to provide affordable yet high-quality living standards, but some 50 years on, some residents feel scared and under siege. Doesn't tell you where it is, which is probably a good idea. Bloodhound Spaniels are deployed as secret weapon in war on bed bug explosion. Now, this bed bug thing, I don't understand this thing about bed bugs. I just assumed there were bed bugs everywhere. I assumed there was already bed bugs over here. I mean, not that I get bitten in that. And when you do get bitten by bed bugs, usually it's in a straight line because they crawl across you and they just bite you and then move and then bite and move and bite and move and then they go off once they're full. They don't kill you. They don't transmit disease. And don't, you know, nighty night, don't let the bed bugs bite and all that kind of thing. We've been saying it for decades. Now all of a sudden it's like, bed bugs. I must admit, if I saw a bed bug in my bed, I would crap myself. But I've just assumed that I've had bed bugs and they just don't bite me. But anyway, there you go. Bloodhound Spaniel. Bed bugs can hide up for a year without feeding on blood, often bunking down in mattress seams, skirting boards and plug sockets. But genius dogs are sniffing them out in less than 10 seconds. So yeah, we've had dogs sniffing out porn, and now we've got dogs sniffing out snogs. Don't snog a dog. Dogs sniffing out bed bugs. Banksy Archive. I think, pretty sure that is in Israel, or is it the Gaza Strip? I don't know which side of the wall he's on. Either way. Damn good picture, and I still am really chuffed that I went to see the Banks exhibition when it was in Salford. It was brilliant. Storm Babet poses danger to life. Flood risks as 60-mile-an-hour wind could destroy homes. Storm Babet is set to cause havoc across the UK, with flooding and disruption expected in most of the country as the Met Office issues a spate of yellow weather warnings throughout the country. Now that was early on, obviously, because it went to amber and red later. Snog the dogs. Yeah, no, don't. XL bully owner living in fear and spat at in streets ahead of breed ban. An XL bully owner claims they have started being harassed in the street thanks to the way her dog has been portrayed by the government. And she says the breed is actually sweet and goofy. Yes, I dare say the breed is sweet and goofy. It's the absolute idiots who don't train their dogs who are putting this pressure on their whole species. It's not, as I've said before, it's not the dog's fault, it's the owner's fault. But sadly, too many people have been injured and killed by these dogs. Something's got to give, and unfortunately it's the breed of dog has got to give. So yeah. UK White Christmas odds, as Britain has a 73% chance of snow. And you're like, wow. But, let's be honest, it's not going to happen. End of. But it only takes one flake of snow anywhere in England to actually make it a white Christmas. So no one will see it, but it's still been classed as a white Christmas. Makes no sense. World's most haunted village is full of creepy dolls that have replaced humans. Well, that's not haunted, is it? That's like Scarecrow's City. The village of Nigro, Japan, is considered one of the creepiest places in the world due to its tiny population being replaced by 350 life-size scarecrows. So it's not haunted. It's just got lots of dummies in it. I mean, there is a difference. I mean, apart from the fact, scarecrows do exist, ghosts don't. Missing Star Wars prop found in garage and sells for a record-breaking £2.57 million. A rare model of an X-Wing starfighter lost for decades has become one of the most expensive Star Wars props to ever sell at auction after being found in a garage. I mean, I'm sorry, but if I had one of them I can't stand Star Wars, okay? Genuinely. I think it's crap. However, I love the world that it's in. I love AT-ATs, I love X-Fighters, I love Y-Fighters, I love Stormtroopers until they took their helmets off and they're just blokes. Rubbish. Bit like in Judge Dredd when Sylvester Stallone takes his helmet off, you're like, well, that's spoiled then, hasn't it? The whole point of the helmet is so you don't know what they look like. It's like if Superman didn't wear glasses when he's Clark Kent. Anyway. There's a farm in Ormskirk where humans follow you. Yeah, it's Farmageddon, isn't it? It's, Farmageddon. I know people who've been, so it's actually quite good, Farmageddon. I've not been. NASA launches mission to secure a huge asteroid worth a few bucks. NASA has launched the mission to the asteroid 16 Psyche, said to be filled with a huge bounty of precious metals, which on Earth would be worth a staggering amount of money. I have no idea how many, what that is. I mean, you've got thousands, millions, billions, trillions, zillions, gazillions, $10 gazillion. I don't know. But yeah, what could possibly go wrong by crashing into another asteroid in space? You know, asteroid in space where there's no gravity or anything, or no air or anything to stop the impact moving the asteroid into a trajectory which is completely dangerous for either it or, more worryingly, our planet. Yeah, I know. Like I say, I know a few people have been to Farmageddon, and over the last few, not this year, but yeah. Bizarre Eminem theory claims he's an android clone who died 17 years ago. Well, he's not, because he goes, well, I'm Slim Shady, the real Slim Shady, and all you other Shadys are just imitating. So which means, obviously, if he's the real Slim Shady, he's not a clone. Because he'd go, well, I'm Slim Shady, I'm a clone Slim Shady, and all you other Slim Shadys are not Slim Shady, because I'm a clone Slim Shady. It's easy for him to say. To be fair, it's Eminem who's taught me how to stop myself swearing on camera all the time when people are actually listening and watching what I'm saying. I'm also can do it when I'm in the shop as well, and it's because I was impressed with him on a TV show where it was live and he was doing one of his songs which had a lot of swearing in it, and he just stopped himself swearing by just muting out that word that he was doing. But if you remember last week, I muted out bull instead of shit when I said bullshit. What I should have said is bull. But there you go, what can you do? But yeah. That number is a quintillion. Oh, there you go, Angela, thank you. Quintillion dollars, which if Biden carries on doing what he's doing, it'll be about 150 quid, because I think the dollar's about to tank. Anyway, Foulmouth Elder, you Alan, don't you can come here saying things like that yet, okay? Jesus in Christ. So 10 quintillion. Me. Legendary rapper Eminem celebrates his 55th. Yeah, I can swear without swearing, but I can't read out a thing on a thing. It's ridiculous. Legendary rapper Eminem celebrates his 51st birthday this week, but some conspiracy theories claim the Slim Shady singer has been dead since 2006 and is in fact an android clone. Me. That's unbelievable. Some people are right shitters. I've done it again. Banksy Archive. This is Palestine-Gaza border. And yep, that's in an ideal world we'd be able to do that. But the worst things that the human population have ever come up with is religion as well as money as well. Now, I've got to admit that when we fight for territory, it kind of makes sense because every species on the planet fights for territory, be it food, an area where the food is or where you've stored your food, or if it's just the herd of female deer that you're in charge of, or, you know, it's animal world, you're allowed to be in charge of female deer if you're a stag. So they can fight over that, and we fight over that as well. But yeah, it's it's amazing. Now, this for me, by far, is one of my favourite animal pictures of the year. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Because this motherfucker is absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm not even joking. It's amazing. This is the best picture of a animal I've seen for a considerable length of time. Ladies and gentlemen, the best Halloween costume in history. Silence is alright. She's outside at the minute. She's not been out for 2 days because it's been raining and wet. I just love that picture. I just love it. It's what more could you possibly want out of life other than looking at that picture? And it's not even a picture, to be fair. This is a still I've took from a video of the dog, the pug, just looking around. It's amazing. It really is. It's absolutely stunning. I love that picture to death of the video. I mean, okay, there's a bit too much winky in there for my liking, but if you look at the three heads rather than the fourth one, you'll be fine. But it's ingenious. Absolutely. Whoever's come up with that, whoever designed that, deserves a medal. I mean, what we need to do is just send the dog to Israel and let it walk around Israel for a bit, and it'll just calm everyone down. King Charles urged to probe Joe Biden. Kinky. Oh no, to expose truth on alien activity. King Charles is being looked at by the self-proclaimed former head of the UK's UFO desk as the man who could probe for answers on the topic and kickstart Britain's own disclosure process. I think they could have worded that slightly better though. King Charles urged to probe Joe Biden to see if he's got a functioning brain, I think. It's just made me laugh. Exploded comet 3 times bigger than Mount Everest is hurtling towards Earth. Well, it's exploded, so it's already not 3 times the size of Everest. The comet, which has been named 12P/Pons-Brooks, is a cryovolcanic comet. It exploded in space, and as it gets closer to Earth, it's expected to explode further. So it's not the size of anything. Storm Babet turns sea into killer whipped cream concoction and attacks women. A foam tsunami has whipped up by the mighty Storm Babet as people across the UK batten down the hatches and take cover from torrential downpours and 70 miles an hour wind that we never got. I know it was bad in Scotland, I'm not detracting from that, but apparently it turned the sea into whipped cream, and then the sea attacked women. Or what, a woman at least. I don't think the sea, whipped cream or otherwise, could attack anyone. If you're a WWF/E fan, this is tragic news. Wrestling icon Sting announces retirement as fans say childhood is dying. Well, he's not dying, he's just retiring. He's going back to his tantric sex, and he's going to release a new album and maybe reform the Police at some time in the future. It's amazing what that face paint covers up, isn't it? I went to Greta Thunberg's environment protest to learn how to save Earth. And he's got eco megastar Greta Thunberg was in Daily Star's neck of the woods this week, so this guy headed down to try and find out what it was all about. To be fair, it was completely pointless exercise. Needless to say, he never found her anything, but he's come up with this brilliant poster that I don't know whether you can read it or not, but it says, "Careful now." I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it was genius. If she'd have saw that, if she'd have seen that, she'd have been like, "I'm not talking to that numpty." Spoiled brat. What sexy stinger's a spoiled brat? No, Greta Thunberg. Yeah, I know. See, we've had this conversation about Greta Thunberg before, and I don't necessarily think that she's a spoiled brat. Yes, she's from a rich family. Yes, she travels around the world in first class, and yes, they hired a yacht to make a point of going across to the UN a few years ago on a yacht. But I think she's being used by people because of her condition. What is it? It's not ADHD. Oh, she's got some minor mental health issue that allows her to be basically manipulated by people, and I think that's what's happened. She's been manipulated by people, and it does me in when people can do that. Ralph. NASA's watching intensifying deadly El Nino storm set to strike next month. I mean, Jesus Christ, we've got enough with Babet, but now we've got NASA watching an El Nino storm that's not going to come until November. The weather system hits almost every year and leaves heat waves during the summer and utter freezing devastation in winter, with NASA now keeping an eye on this year's storms. I mean, that's looking forward ahead, isn't it? AD&D, yes, that's it. Thank you, Lee. Welcome as well, by the way. Oh yeah, he's got the Kes thing. Love Kes. First time I saw bits of a bloke, well, on film, was when I watched Kes, and that was at school on Super 8mm. It was weird. It was when he jumps out of the shower. They probably edited it out now. If you buy the DVD or the Blu-ray now, that won't be in it anymore because, oh, you can't show a human body. Oh, no. But It's a cracking movie. Definitely of the time. A UK town of institutionalised local should be firebombed, fumes a shop owner. A British seaside town is on the ropes, and many people who live there are suffering with brutal cost of living crisis, preventing some from eating properly or even turning on the lights. And this town is Rill. Ah, yes, I see what you mean by the names now. I get it. Where are we up to? Where was Kez? I've lost Kez. No, your Kez. I'm looking for Kez on here. Oh, right. We've already done the Wiggles, so we'll pass the Wiggles. The dog thought he could get an ice cream by being in line, and the guy gave him that not to upset the dog, basically, not to hurt the dog's heart. So a dog. It's a video. It's a clip taken from a video. The dog is sat and moves along the queue as people get served, and then it jumps up and the guy gives it an ice cream, and I'm like, that's really nice. Yeah, in Wales, Angela. Yeah, Rill in Wales. It's bloody awful. I did a video on it. One of my first Let's Visit videos. Seen David Bradley at the Muffin Man Bakery the other week. David Bradley? Was he the guy who played Kez? David Bradley. I actually read it right. Because I know we have the guy in Wigan who lives in Scholes, who is the guy in the creepy little guy in the Saw movies. I only ever saw Saw 1, he wasn't in that one. No, not Saw, Human Centipede, sorry. Human Centipede movies. I ain't watched them because I don't do horror. Oh, advert. Oh, we got an advert. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. It's how people budget their money. You're right, Angela, but again, it's not helped if the only places you can get stuff in a town are very, very expensive. Oh no, I've done something I don't normally do. I've drunk all my Guinness, but that's because I got told not to drink alcohol. Alan's back. You can have millions of bad buildings, but it's up to the people to budget their money. Yeah, you had the advert before, Angela, and Alan didn't. So yeah, it's all very confusing. Time traveller. I say, bull. Claims newly discovered fruit is key to slowing down aging. And you're like, what newly discovered fruit is this? Oh, it's not been discovered yet. Eric Alric, who claims to be a time traveller from the year 2671, has said a new fruit will be discovered that will allow people to slow aging and prolong lifespan. Right. New fruit. I'm pretty sure it's very unlikely we're going to find a new fruit. There might be one that's bred, but mixing things together. So I'm going to say bull on that one. And time traveller from 2671. I'm going to say shit on that as well. I've done the wrong way again because I'm that angry. So yeah, why do we listen to people who are obviously, a few butties short of a picnic? Or in fact, in this case, a picnic short of a picnic. Like mine, I travel to get shopping because my shops are expensive. Yeah, my shops are expensive as well, but again, I kind of buy bread and stuff from there and eggs, but I don't buy anything else. Woman orders a Barbie one-size-fits-all Halloween costume but is left howling. Destiny Stark. She's called Destiny Stark. Tony's sister, who looks a little bit like Heather from EastEnders. Sorry. All I see now is Heather from EastEnders in a really shit-looking Barbie box. We can get this sorted. Destiny Stark opted to dress up as Barbie in a box this Halloween, although it ended up being a major costume fail. She took to TikTok to show her spooky season malfunction. Or Susan Boyle. Anyway, yeah, basically it doesn't even cover her knees. It's just crap, and it's made out of the flimsiest plastic you've ever seen. It's probably a suffocation hazard, to be fair. Anyway, let's have a bit of Banksy. That's definitely in Israel. Yeah. School allows stressed out students to nip outside for a vape or a smoke. What the absolute. A school allows students to smoke and vape to combat disruptive behaviour, with more than 50 students of all ages on a list allowing them to pop outside for a tab. I mean, for God's sake. Talk about pandering to the next generation. The problem we've got is, and I'm not saying that the cane and the slipper and everything was a good thing to have. You put Susan Boyle as well, Lee. That's scary. But we're now on the second generation of kids who've not had any consequence to their actions being inflicted on them. And now we're pandering them to doing stuff that is illegal for school children to do, i.e. vape and or smoke. We're now letting them outside to do it. I mean, why don't they just open up a cigarette kiosk in the corridor? I mean, this is ridiculous. Oh no, they go out. They go out so they can have their cigarette. They don't do it in the classroom. You're not allowed to smoke inside. There are some rules you have to obey. But no, this is just, we need to clamp down on the youth, because there's no respect whatsoever from youth at the moment. And having said that, some seem okay. There was a thing yesterday where I was coming out of the shopping centre, and there was someone kind of loitering within a part of the outside of the building that they shouldn't have been in. So I went to security and just said, you know, you might want to keep an eye out on, you know, there's some guy in the an area that there shouldn't be anyone in, and you know, just keep an eye on him. So the security went round to have a word with him, and me being the nosy get I am, you don't get that and not be nosy. I wandered round as well, and it was this young lad who claimed to be 18, but I reckon he was, I'd be struggling to say he was 15, but he said he was 18. I had no idea on him, and he was homeless, and he had carrier bags of stuff and all that kind of thing, and he was just trying to find somewhere to sleep for the night. And me and the security guy said, well, you know, there are places in Wigan you can go to and you can actually get a bed for the night. And he went, no, I don't want to go there, I'll sooner sleep on the street, and all this. Long story short, we are putting people up in 4-star hotels who have no right to be in this country. We're letting scared 16, 17-year-old boys sleep on the street. What is wrong with society? Then we're letting kids leave classrooms to go and have a cigarette or a vape. It's absolutely ridiculous, the situation we are in at the moment. He wandered off into the night. I've no idea where he is, what he did, but I felt bloody awful all night for him. Never met him before, don't know him from Adam, but he seemed genuine, and I was trying to figure out, why has he not gone to one of these places where you can go to? And it hit me like a bus that's full of everyone who's homeless. And this lad looked, you know, as decent as you can do when you've been on the street for a few nights. Softly spoken, non-aggressive, non-sweary, seemed genuine, even asked me for a job. And he doesn't want to go in somewhere where you've got stinky druggies, where you've got alcoholics and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, why are we allowing society to go the way it's going? We need to clamp down on things. We need to put rules in place. I don't mean go around beating people. I'm not saying we should bring the cane back at school or anything, but there should be consequences other than sitting in isolation if you do something wrong. And we sure as hell shouldn't be allowing people to go out and break the law by smoking cigarettes or vaping on school property in school time, who are school children. And we shouldn't be allowing young lads who, possibly through no fault their own, didn't get into the story as to why he was homeless, be homeless whilst we are spending literally millions and millions and millions of pounds putting up illegal immigrants who've come illegally to this country with no documents in 4-star hotels. It is sickening, and I just think the country we need to kick ourselves up the arse, basically. Talking of migrants, this was hilarious. I'm going to make this a bit bigger for you. This was possibly yesterday or the day before, not sure which, I think the day before actually. And this is a bus of migrants driving to the barge. Remember the barge that had listeria on it? And the Just Stop Oil protesters decided to just stop this coach. And by having the big flag and all the high-vis vests on and trying to stop it. And you're like, what the hell has a coach carrying illegal migrants going to a barge got to do with Just Stop Oil? And someone pointed out, I think it was on Talk TV to be fair, that what it probably is these are professional protesters and someone brought the wrong kit bag. So what it should have been is, don't put migrants in hotels. It should have been, you know, we want migrants welcome. We don't want to treat you like this. We love you and respect you and all that kind of thing. That there are people out there who do that. They do though, don't they? Do and they just someone picked up the wrong bag and they come with the Just Stop Oil stuff. They thought, well, we're here now. Let's do it anyway. Anyway, credit to the people on the bus, on the coach. You can just see above the guy who stood in front of the bus, a guy with a beanie on, and he's looking straight down. And the driver does not stop. The driver keeps going. The video is hilarious. If you get to watch it, do please watch it because it's brilliant. I mean, these fools, Just Stop Oil. I've said many times before, I've got literally not an ounce of respect for them, or an ounce of anything for them. I get where they're coming from, but as I've said, the UK is not the problem for the perceived global warming. The global warming is coming from China, Russia, America, India. All these countries and others are pumping out considerably more perceived climate changing gases than we are, and this bus is irrelevant in the scheme of things. And yeah, it's just an absolute joke that these people think that they've got the right to do that, because they haven't. They've got the right to do anything. It's just sick. But anyway, yeah, you agree, Alan, with what I said? I assume that's about the young lad who I was talking about yesterday. That I saw yesterday. I did tell him to come to my shop, and I would give him some money to go and get some food. But he'd have to come back and eat it in the shop, so I know he got food and not bought anything else. But he didn't look like the kind of person who'd buy anything else. Not that you can judge a book by the cover. But yeah, I just felt really bad for him. And yeah, I was kind of upset I couldn't do more. But you can only do so much, can't you? Let's be honest. And I've just realised, how long have I been doing this? And I've just realised that I don't know, it is, no, it's not there. I'm going to say the stick of the and, which is there, that has disappeared off the bottom leg, but it hasn't. That's how the font works. Anyway, yeah, so that pretty much is it for tonight. I'll give a big shout out to everyone who's been in the chat. If you want to get a shout out and you're watching and you've not been in the chat, just say hi or bye or whatever in the chat and I'll read your name out. So we'll go to the top and work our way down. Alan Barton was first in, Andrew Laurel came second, be fair, it's been a bit quiet tonight. Matt Francis is now in bed. Greetings to Cornwall, although I personally think that Dorset do their cream scones the right way around. Obviously, I don't give a shit because I'm allergic to cream. I couldn't care less. I just thought it would wind him up for a millisecond. Paul, who may or may not be a robot. Matty Hopkirk, who's deceased. It's not even a joke. And I think it's just you two. We haven't had some regulars on tonight, which is unfortunate, but big shout out if they're on to Kim, Deno and Mum and JT. By the way, JT, I've only been on for an hour and 50 minutes, so you've still got 10 minutes before your first break. Lee H, big shout out to you as well. And that's it. Though I do vlogs on a Sunday. If you're on about the Wigan Watch, that's probably going to be tomorrow as well. Oh, he died in the 60s. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's a TV show, isn't it? Anyway, big shout out to everyone who's been on. We've got only 4 viewers at the moment. We've had 30 views overall. It has been a bit quieter tonight. I don't know if that's because Strictly Come Dancing is back on again, or whether it's because James Whale is on earlier on Talk TV. Yeah, it's been alright. Average view duration though is 12 minutes and 7 seconds, which is pretty good. Got a chat rate of 3. Maximum people we've had watching at any one time is 6. We've had 2 likes, which is always a bit disappointing. But yeah, it's good. This is the one thing that I do on this channel that actually takes a hell of a lot of time to do. And it's the one I get the least views for as well. Which is, well, apart from, you know, other videos that get less views. I'm trying to think of one, but I can't. There will be one somewhere. But it is appreciated that you join in. How's Mum doing? Yeah. If you don't know, my mother's 88, housebound, and various other issues going on. And I go and visit her every Tuesday, do a live stream of me driving there and a live stream of me driving back, as mentioned on Talk TV. Now, me and Andre, people think we don't get on. We do actually kind of get on. It's a bit of banter. He was brought up in Lee. I was brought up in Staley Bridge, but I live in Wigan and I do Wigan Watch. Lee and Wigan don't get on. A bit like Manchester and Liverpool, but not quite as aggressive. And therefore, every time I get on the TV show, I get ripped into. And I don't really mind, because it's any publicity is good publicity. I don't really get any extra subscriptions. I don't get any spikes on my channel for it. But no, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? You've got to have fun. Otherwise, what's the point? And yeah, I try and make this as fun as I can. But bearing in mind what's going on in the world, mind you, it doesn't really matter when you do this. I mean, anytime. It's very rare that it's a whole fun and laughter in the news. There's always some tragedy somewhere, or some war somewhere, or some terrorist atrocity or something, which basically we've got everything going on at the same time at the minute in Israel and Gaza. Plus we've still got what's going on in Ukraine as well. Plus you've still got what's going on with the Uyghurs in Japan. Not in Japan, in China, and you've still got Biden, President of the United States of America. That's why it's called a state, because it's in a right state at the minute. But anyway, yeah, I really appreciate you guys playing along and following and all that. And I will see you all again next time. Until then, I'll be seeing you. Thanks for watching, and